morning, Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. How are you this morning? I'm Reverend Tracy Earlywine, and just so happy to welcome you to this weekly infusion of spiritual truth. You know, we are a community of love and friendship and great joy, and we come together every week to remind ourselves of the abundant life that is truly ours. We come to support each other, to know the truth about each other, and to lift each other up. For what we are doing when we do that is we are raising the consciousness of all. And we really truly believe that we can create a world that works for everyone. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you are here with us. I want to remind you that our practitioners remain available to serve you in prayer support. You can leave a confidential message on the office phone line or send an email or call your practitioners directly. Their contact information is on our website and also in your weekly e-blast. We look forward to supporting you in prayer, to knowing the truth for you, to offer healing, or just to simply help keep you on track in between our Sunday gatherings, because it's easy to get distracted by the world and always healing to recenter once again in the truth. But do reach out to your practitioners. Let them continue to support you. We have something a little bit different this morning. I'll tell you about our guest speaker in just a moment, but I want to get us started by centering, as we always do, with a prayer and a reading. So right where you are, take a moment, take a breath, and close your eyes. Let the sound of the bowl take you within. For it is in this inner sanctuary of the heart where love is, where light is, where peace is, through, as, and in each of us. It is here that we remember that you and I and Spirit are one. Simply allowing yourself to be present in this moment, to breathe in and breathe out the life that is the very essence and energy of all that you are. This is the life of spirit, that divine knowing, that perfect intelligence, that energy of creation of all things. And it is here that we rest and are renewed. It is here that we come to receive solace and sanctuary and replenishment. And so we claim today this life that is love, that is oneness, that is peace, that is joy. For what I know is that regardless of circumstances or appearances, love is, peace is, that the joy of life resides in every heart. And in the moments of stillness like this one, we tap in again to the source of all energy, steadying ourselves, creating a space, allowing life to unfold through and as us perfectly. With great gratitude, we simply allow this to be and bless this morning together, for it is good, and so it is. So this morning, I offer you a reading from Ernest Holmes' 365. And it says, I enjoy the companionship of God. Communion with Spirit is one of the great privileges of life. By communion with God, we do not mean telling the infinite what to do or how to do it. For that is talking to God rather than communing with God. By communion, we mean silently entering into divine harmony and beauty until we feel that harmony and beauty in our own souls, in our own minds. For instance, if you find yourself distraught and mentally upset, and you follow the simple practice of communing with peace, you will find that peace enters into you. You do this by dropping all confusion from your mind and thinking about peace, by dwelling on its meaning and feeling that you are breathing it into yourself until it floods your whole being with harmony. This is real communion, not telling peace what it ought to do or be, but entering into its spirit silently, quietly, and alone. And so it is with love or joy or any other attribute of the divine. We must commune by listening and feeling this presence until the presence is real to us. This is the very essence of communion. So today we have a guest speaker, my good friend, Reverend Dr. Katherine Economou. She is the senior minister at CSL in Temecula Valley. And she is sharing her talk with us from her community. This month, they're talking about the stepping into the unknown. And so she's speaking to us this morning with a talk called You Are Not Alone. And what I know about Reverend Katherine is she is, besides being a really good friend, she is just a teacher at heart. All that she knows and is and has grown into spiritually, she wants to share with everyone because she wants everyone to feel that uplift, that support, that love that spirit is when we live a spiritual life. So I welcome and offer you the joy of Reverend Katherine.
Good morning, everyone. What a pleasure it is to be with you all at the Claremont Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Reverend Katherine Economou, and I'm so grateful that my dear colleague and friend, Reverend Tracy, asked me to share a talk with you today. And so I'm so grateful to be here and to have a chance to connect with you and to share this talk. So I hope you enjoy it. All right, everybody. Well, I want to remind us that our theme for the year is timeless wisdom and evolutionary vision. And our intention with that annual theme is to deepen our understanding of how to live the science of mind philosophy, these spiritual principles that we talk about, that we explore, that we meditate on, that we put into practice in our lives, and see how we can integrate them into our lives in new and expansive ways. I don't know about you, but it just feels like something new is wanting to be called out of each and every one of us. Something new, some new way of being, some new expression as we're coming into this. I don't know if it's because we're coming to the end of the pandemic or we're coming into spring, but it just feels like there's this energy that's wanting to burst forward. And so the idea is that we take the foundation of these timeless principles, these spiritual principles, and we put them into practice in new and expansive ways for each of us, for our good, for our growth, and for our expansion. So that's the intention of everything that we're doing this year. And this month, we have a new theme for April, which is stepping into the unknown. Right? There we go, something nice and juicy there to work with. Stepping into the unknown. It feels like we've been doing that a lot this year, but we're moving into a new realm of it. And today my talk is stepping into the unknown. You are not alone. And so what I realize is that spiritual awakening, spiritual growth requires a willingness to step into the unknown. Spiritual growth, spiritual awakening requires a certain amount of comfort with living in the question, right? There are things that come up that stretch us, that grow us, that pull us into a new direction. And it's all about that evolution and that unfoldment. When we stop playing it safe and move beyond the edge of our previous experience, our energy expands. Saying yes to life, welcoming it all, even the moments of discomfort or challenge, allows us to realize and cultivate new aspects of who we are, new aspects of our own strength. our search for security is an illusion. Our human search for security is an illusion. We all do it. We all want to create a nice, comfy bubble that we live in. A nice, comfy bubble that we get to say, yes, I'm growing here and I'm working on this, but it's still very contained and very comfortable and cushy in there. In the ancient wisdom traditions, the pathway to a happy, fulfilling, and joyful life of freedom lies in the wisdom of uncertainty. This means that the search for security and certainty is actually an attachment to what is already known, right? That we have this idea. But the challenge is what's already known. Well, what's already known is our past, is who we were, not even who we are now, who we were. The known is nothing other than the prison of our past conditioning. There's no evolution in that. There's no growth in that. There's no expansion in that. There's no space in it. It's a small prison of limitation. But uncertainty, on the other hand, uncertainty is the fertile ground of pure creativity and freedom. Uncertainty means stepping into the unknown every day, every moment of our existence. The unknown is a field of all possibilities, ever fresh, ever new, always open to the manifestation of new experiences and situations. So often in life, right, there are upsets, there are challenges that bring disorder to our life of presumed order. And let me start by saying that we step into the unknown every time we step out of bed, okay? Like every day. You want to go to Starbucks, you're stepping into the unknown because you don't know what's going to happen, right? We never really know what's going to happen. But we lull ourselves into a sense of security because we play it safe, because we surround ourselves with things we're familiar with. But the truth is, the spirit is that absolute expression and expansion of the unknown. So when those moments of disorder show up, when those moments happen, a natural human reaction is to seek order and to resist the disorder, right? Which is demanding a change in direction. Like the disorder of our life is demanding a change in direction. Instead of continuing to muddle through and remain in the zone of comfort and ease, it's wanting to be a change is wanting to come to pass here. And so in these moments of upset in the normal calm of everyday life that offer this opportunity for change, they become openings that can set one off sailing into life in a new direction, propelled by the creative energy of divine life. Now, I remember one of my favorite cartoons. There's this cartoon that circulates around often through ministry. And it's a preacher at the front of a congregation, and you see the congregation and the preacher's there, and he's saying, "Who wants change?" And everybody in the congregation raises their hand, right? The first picture is everybody in the congregation is saying it. And then the second one is, "Who wants to change?" And everybody's just sitting there and looking forward. They're not even looking at him. Right? So we all want to experience change, but we don't want anything to actually change in order to be able to do it, right? But if we have that willingness to step into the unknown, then we will have the wisdom of uncertainty factored in. And the wisdom of uncertainty is a deep realization that you are connected to God, the infinite intelligence that's brought forth all that is. God is the power and the presence. This means that in every moment of your life, you can be open to the excitement, to the adventure, to the mystery. When you experience uncertainty, you know that you're on the right path, so you don't give up and you don't resist it. Right? We want to get to a place where when those moments, when we feel that call for change, when we feel that need to move in a new direction, that we don't resist it, that we don't ignore it, that we don't pretend it's not there, that we follow its lead, because that is life calling us forward, calling us, pulling us out into a new experience, into a new expression. It's not helpful right? To put all of our energy into creating a complete and rigid idea of what you'll be doing next week, right? You could do it for next week or next year. Because if you have a very clear of your idea of what's going to happen and you get rigidly attached to it, then you shut out the whole range of possibilities of what could show up to move you in a new direction. To the degree that you allow yourself to become less resistant and more open to life, you can embrace opportunity and move in that new direction. Deepak Chopra said, "Without uncertainty and the unknown, life is just a stale repetition of outworn memories. You become the victim of the past, and your tormentor today is yourself left over from yesterday. Relinquish your attachment to the known, step into the unknown, and you will step into the field of all possibilities." And Pema Chodron, who's a beloved Buddhist teacher, author, and nun, said this. She said, "This moving away from comfort and security and stepping out into what is unknown, uncharted and shaky, that's called liberation." Stepping into the unknown brings us to a place of freedom, of liberation. The Science of Mind teaches us that freedom is our birthright. It's the birthright of every individual. We are free to choose and to create the experience of our life. And yet, even when we're choosing to play small, even when we're choosing to stay safe, there's a yearning sometimes. There's a part of us that longs to evolve. There's an urge that longs to be free. It's an urge, and there are some times that you can feel it. Maybe it's a restlessness or a deep need to move or shift in a new direction or change something in your life. This is because we were made to evolve. We were made to constantly grow and unfold and evolve, to expand. And life was made to guide us with that growth. We're connected not only to God, but to each other. We're intimately connected to all of life. So everything that happens in life is there to support our growth and our expansion. We're called to embrace change, transformation, and that newness, that fresh newness. As we boldly step into the unknown, we find ourselves navigating the winds of change. And it's easier to welcome some, and yet we still resist others. We each have the opportunity to choose how we're going to live as we move forward. We can fight it. We can try and manage our lives, keep things safe and secure and the same, comfortable, because we know what to expect. So that's an image of steadiness, but it's also an image of stagnation. And pardon, I can't think of another word, but blah, right? There's an experience of blah in that, you know? We need to have something new. We need to have something fresh to have that experience. Or we can welcome it. We can welcome life. We can embrace the question. We can embrace the challenge. We can embrace what's coming up, knowing that we are sourced and supported by life itself. We can, those rumblings that happen, and we can look to see and to nurture and to support what wants to be born out of this. I have a colleague, a minister, who lives in Geneva, Switzerland. Her name is Reverend Beth Liguri. And she tells this story of this lake near where she lives. It's called Lake Leman, and it's near Geneva, situated between the Alps and the Jura Mountains. She shares that on Lake Leman, there are more than 70 different winds. 70 different winds that blow. I was like surprised by that. But there are, right? And so it's a place where they do a lot of sailboat racing and they do a lot of sailing. But she says that on the days when there's very little wind, the sailors scan the becalmed lake, looking for any ripples on the water. And when they locate any ripples on the water, the skipper changes direction and heads towards the disturbances to find the wind that is blowing there, right? The sails fill up, the boat receives the power to sail quickly towards its destination. Those who are most successful in locating disturbances on the water reach their destination and complete the race. They've embraced the changing winds. I love that story because the idea is that there's the ones who embrace the disturbance. When we can embrace life, when we can embrace what's before us, when we can look for it, when we can lean into it, when we can embrace it, we get where we're going faster and more smoothly. Not by avoiding it, not by pretending it's not there, not by turning our back on it, by heading straight to the disturbance. Because the disturbance that in the story, the wind is the thing that's going to carry us to that next experience. Well, the disturbance in our lives are the things that are going to carry us to the next experience. Can we trust the wind of change that is being kicked up from those experiences of our lives? And truth is that stepping into the unknown is a lot easier when we realize that we're not alone in this. When we understand how God operates in our lives, it's much easier to accept and embrace the changes that we're faced with. God is so intimately connected to us in our path in life. It is the infinite principle. We often talk about God as that infinite, powerful presence that has brought forth all things. God is an energy. It's a presence. It is life itself. It's part of all that is. It's also the most intimate part of our being. It lives in our hearts, and it knows our fears and our desires, and more than anything, it knows what we're capable of more than we do. It knows that you're much stronger than you think you are. Remember, Jesus said, "Of mine own self I can do nothing, but with God all things are possible." And he said, do you not believe that I am in the Father and the Father is in me? The words that I speak to you, I do not speak from my own self, but the Father dwelling in me doeth the works. Again, when we talk about these scriptures from the metaphysical perspective, wherever Jesus uses "I am," when he says "I am," it's when he says "I am in the Father is in me," it's universal. It means that he is, and I am, and you are. The Father is within us. It is the divine within us that does the works. We point the way. And God makes the way possible. So as you consciously poise yourself in the realization that you live in pure spirit, a new power is born within you. You'll find yourself renewed by the divine life, led by the divine intelligence and wisdom, and guarded by divine love. That's what it means to live in the Spirit, to live close to the Spirit, is to cultivate that feeling and that understanding of your deep connection to it so much that when the stuff starts to hit the fan in our lives, we can say, God is in this too. I don't like it. There are things that happen in our lives that, let me tell you, there's stuff that happens in my life that I don't like, but I trust God in it. And I know it's there to bring forth more wisdom, more understanding, a deeper realization of myself and of life. And we are all called to do this. And I want to remind us that our guidance system in this, during times of this, during times of change, during times of evolution, is joy. So instead of a GPS, a global positioning system, or a God positioning system, I'm calling it a JPS. It's our joy positioning system. Joy is the guide along our path of co-creation with God. Where your joy flows, your life grows, actually. So we have to allow ourselves time for joy. We need to realize that we are here for the delight of God. We have been created as an aspect of that divine, as a unique expression of that divine, for the joy and the delight of the infinite one. And so what that means is that we have to get in touch with those things that bring the experience of delight to us. So what brings you delight? When you get stuck in one of those scary moments when the floor seems to be rocking in your world, pause and ask yourself, what would bring me joy today? Maybe, where is my delight today? And embrace that. Take a step in that direction. And it may be something as simple as buying yourself some beautiful flowers, or drinking tea out of your grandmother's tea set, or sitting under a tree, enjoying the moment for a few moments with the breeze. Maybe it's playing with your grandkids. Finding some way to bring some joy to your experience every day is not selfish. It's honoring God. And so that is part of our self-care, is finding a way to allow ourselves to really embrace life. Because God creates through joy. So the power and the intelligence of the divine mind is yours. And so whether you're working on reemerging to a new normal after the pandemic, or beginning a new venture, or even just waking up and starting a new day, we're always stepping into unknown territory. This is a new day. Today is a new day, and we are called to live it fully. Of mine own self, I can do nothing. But with God, everything is possible. So let joy be your guide as you co-create this day with God for your highest expression of the greatest delight. Again, Deepak Chopra from the 7 Spiritual Laws of Success, he has this great affirmation, and I'm going to make sure I put it up on our Facebook today. It says this: "Today I will factor in uncertainty as an essential ingredient of my experience. In my willingness to accept uncertainty, solutions will spontaneously emerge. The more uncertain things seem to be, the more secure I will feel, because uncertainty is my path to freedom. Through the wisdom of uncertainty, I will find my security." The unknown is a field of possibilities, an adventure that waits for all of us. It's an oasis, a start to something new. We're essentially being reborn again during the process of the unknown. And so as an infinite being, there's always something new for you to discover. This is the path of lasting joy. Imagine a life of mystery and enchantment, right? It's there waiting for you in the midst of the chaos of the human experience. So instead of experiencing it as chaos, let's step into the adventure of it, knowing that we are supported, strengthened, guided by the infinite wisdom of God. So step into the unknown. You are safe and secure in it because you're not alone. God is always with you. And so as we start this week, I encourage you to allow those moments when you feel that you're moving into a place of change and of that newness, of that shakiness. Take a breath and feel the presence of God within you. And allow it to guide you forward into that place of freedom and of joy. And so I'm going to end with a prayer today. I invite you to just close your eyes and take a breath right where you are. Let's come together in consciousness here and remember the infinite creative source of all life that is God. It moves and breathes itself into being as each and every one of us and all things everywhere. And so I know that this one is that one mind, that infinite knowing of all the ages. It is that powerful heart, that one heart of God that that channel of divine love, the impetus for all creation. And Spirit moves and breathes itself into being as each and every one of us. So intimately connected are we, that it is nearer than breath, closer than hands or foot. It is that divine spark that's alive at the center of our hearts. And so I know that each and every one of us is source supported and guided by God. I know that our lives are created to allow for the fullest experience of freedom and joy and love. And that life itself holds the key to the unfoldment. And so I call upon grace. I call upon that powerful presence of grace to move into our experience, to calm our fears, to allow us to feel that support and to feel that connection with the Infinite One. And I know that peace of surrender allows us to feel that support, and that God simply guides us to our highest and greatest expression. And so with a grateful heart to see it, to know it, to claim it, I celebrate and give thanks for this divine truth of life, of Spirit, and of each of us. And with my heart overfilled with gratitude, I surrender my word and allow it to be. And so it is. Amen.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Just makes my heart happy. All right, so let me tell you a little bit about what we are doing at Centers for Spiritual Living in Claremont, because we have big news. Next week, we will find ourselves once again in the sanctuary. I'm going to invite you to come a few minutes early for our 10:30 service, as opposed to some of you who have a tendency to trickle in a little later. If you come a little early, that will give us time to take temperatures and take names. We want to know who's there. We want to make sure everyone stays safe and healthy. We ask that you do wear your mask when you're inside the sanctuary. We'll have doors open, sanitizing stations, and hall monitors to make sure you don't bunch up into crowds, okay? So I know it's going to be delightful. I am so happy to welcome us all back to our spiritual home, and I know that you will be too. Like I said, you'll see a few people wandering around helping you find a safe place to sit and follow the signs and all of the protocols that you've become used to in this last year, again, just to keep everybody safe. But oh my goodness, I am so happy. I have waited a long time to say we're back. And as you know, your board came up with this great little slogan for us, CCSL, alive and well. I'm so excited. Do know too that we'll have our Wednesday night as usual. We're going to stick with online for a while. So there is a phone number to call for the meditation at 6:15 with Nisa. And you can join Marianne and the crew on Wednesday nights at 7 o'clock via Zoom. You'll find the link in the e-blast and on the website. I also want to remind you that if you are taking or interested in taking the class Unleash Your Power, that begins this Tuesday. So you're going to want to talk to Mary if you haven't already to get the information and get signed up. And it's going to be a fabulous class. Life is better when you're in class. Ask anybody who's ever taken a class. You know it's true. So we look forward to seeing you in class. We certainly look forward to seeing you next Sunday. And until then, please remember, you are loved.